Hey guys, K2's Retro Workshop. Today, 386SX platform again. I'm going to start out real quick by going over what we have, and then I'm going to talk about what I have recently picked up. So, here we are on the top dog, the 486 SLC40. Overclocks to 50 megahertz without a problem. That's why it's got the heatsink on it. And yeah, real quick guy. Gives even a 386DX a run for its money. Next up, we have the new as of last video, the 486 SX-LC240, which clock doubles a 20 megahertz bus, so it gets has a little bit of a slowdown because of the slower RAM and such, but with the 8K of on-die cache, was able to still obliterate this guy and was very close to keeping up with the top unit. Over here, we have the slowest of the bunch, what I originally started this whole video series on, the 386SX, because that's what I had as my first PC, and I wanted to revisit it and see just what it was capable of, because as I've gotten older and the internet has proliferated a lot more and everything, knowledge and everything is out there that wasn't before. Mid-90s, I was not crawling the internet for shareware. Unfortunately, there's so much that can be played and done on these systems. But we revolve more around, I guess, hardware differences and stuff so far in this series. And that's going to continue here, because in my last video about this guy, I had mentioned that there's not really a whole lot, or there wasn't any systems that had level 2 cache on the SX platform. Well, a lot of people commented that they remember having systems that did. So I began my internet search. And my internet search resulted in me finding a motherboard that is a 386SX that does actually have level 2 cache on it. Now, this motherboard, because of the level 2 cache, does add a lot of complication to this board. So instead of having a nice, compact 2-layer board, we end up with this giant, complicated 4-layer board. Now, later on, this is like a 1990, 91-ish era board. And, it's kind of not fair to compare it to something like this 386DX board that's, half its size from 93, because technology did move forward. But this is a 4-layer board, and this is a 4-layer board. It adds a lot of complication, and it adds a lot of extra stuff that they have to do to incorporate this. According to this chip's datasheet, the cache should add up to 50% performance increase. So we're going to check that out. But another thing that I would like to take a look at is just how much of a performance increase you get using cache versus brute forcing 40 megahertz and just try and speed the system up and clock it fast enough to overcome the loss of performance of not having this cache. But first, we've got to get this board working. It wasn't necessarily sold to me not working, but if you look up here, you can see black connections on these RAM slots. The plating has corroded and such, and I don't really think we should mess with that too much. I'm just going to desolder them and solder in some brand new RAM sockets. No big deal. It's just some through-hole soldering. Should be able to do it fairly easily. Put a new battery in there, clean it up. One resistor did get hit, like I'd said, so I'm going to probably replace that. And then, let's boot it up. So I've gone ahead and done everything I need to do with this guy. This is right before I'm about to boot it up for the first time. I replaced all of the DRAM slots here with new slots because the old ones were, God, they were gross. I don't know what got on them, but there was a lot of corrosion there. And so I've got 8 1 meg chips in here. I had to reseat cache and everything because I gave this guy a complete bath. You can see under the wire over here, I've got a small, she's got a new battery. A jumper I think I need, but don't have in there yet. So, for cards, same as always. I've got my SanDisk industrial grade or standard grade card in here. and on an adapter in the Gold Star I/O, the diagnostic card, and the Ultimate VGA True Color 1 megabyte SING 4000 ISA card. So let me rejigger the camera real quick and let's get it booted up. Alright, so this is as wide angle as I can go, and I think that's everything we need to see the screen. Let's fire it up. Oh, that's promising. Nice. See if it counts all 8. Okay. Ah, nice. Processor cache passed and disabled. We can actually hit a hotkey to enable or disable the cache. That's really cool. CMOS checksum bad. That's kind of what I figured. Drive B error. Okay. Let's see if... Wow, this is an interesting setup. Select an option to change. Might disable the wait states. Bus speed of 11. Bus speed is CPU clock divided by 6. Oh, okay, so that's ISA clock. We won't mess with that yet. VGA 2. We don't have a disk. Why am I doing this? The battery isn't hooked up. Well, interesting. Hard drive parameters are set. It's counting RAM and everything like it should. Everything passes, keyboard controller and all this. And then it flashes the hard drive, starts MS-DOS, and it actually sits here forever. So maybe I need to make a new CF card for this guy. I will have to see how I want to do that. I don't remember how I actually made this compact flash drive. Let's see what I got. Alright. We had a bunch of trouble with the CF card. I went ahead and booted from a Gotek to get these benchmarks. Moving on. Now, on the screen you're going to see 2 benchmarks. One is the SX-25, and the other is an SX-40 with no cache. You can tell they're pretty close to one another, and one of them is actually pulling ahead. It may surprise you to hear, but the one on the right is actually the SX-40. My guess is that the higher bus speed just allows faster transfer rates and better peak frame rates. So the answer to the question as to whether or not you can brute force your way through the lack of level 2 cache is, yeah, you can. Which might explain why only really early systems had level 2 cache as an option. I didn't see any of the later 40 megahertz models with it. So here we have 3 benchmarks. They're all at the same clock speed. Top left has the cache disabled, bottom has the cache enabled, and the top right has the 486 SLC clocked down to 25 megahertz. The results here are kind of surprising, but not surprising at the same time. So I expected the SX-25 to be the slowest. The poor thing doesn't even get to finish this benchmark by the time I'm going to be done here. The SX-25 with 64K of cache, I figured would be below the SLC-25, but it was kind of a toss-up because you've got 1K of level 1 versus 64K of level 2. I guess the extra bandwidth of the level 2 cache, the extra volume of level 2 cache doesn't make up for the extra bandwidth of just having the 1 kilobyte. So we have those results there. You'll notice that it's 9.5 for the SX with cache, and I put 9.9. I went in and did some optimization with wait states and clock speed on the ISA bus. So I got an extra half an FPS there. But yeah, kind of surprising. All right, there it is. The 386SX with external cache. 2 months ago, I didn't even know this existed, and here we go. We have a working motherboard in that exact setup. But, you know, it needed some work. And, man, you know, I'm sorry at how much these things cost. You know, I couldn't believe that looking up 386SX systems that we were talking about $100 a motherboard. I only was able to get this one because it had problems. Bad RAM slots, and I had to swap them out. And even then it was almost $70. So it's pretty incredible how much the SX platform is fetching. You would think they were DXs. It's crazy out there. But, you know, everybody trying to get hobbies over COVID shutdowns and stuff really made this hobby expensive. So, but, you know, while this is an excellent motherboard, it has more potential. And I have a few 386SX motherboards, and I want to do a little giveaway here. So if the first person that can guess in the comments what part swaps we're going to do on this motherboard and what mod we need to make it work, I'll send a 386SX motherboard too. So put your guesses down in the comments below, and I hope you guys had a great holiday. I'm excited for the projects we have coming up in this new year. Some of them are on the Mac side, which I know aren't nearly as popular as this 386 PC stuff, but there we are. All right, have a great day.